Hello, everybody. Happy Memorial Day weekend for everybody in the US. It's Sunday Q&A. Anybody on holiday, have a good time. But we'll be here every day. Anyway, thank you all for coming. Let's get into today's story. It is a little bit of a meaty one. Hold on. Let's get into stop. Pause. We got audio, which is good. Anyway, this is called Bitcoin Cycle Reborn, but we're also going to touch on so much more stuff. We're going to look at Bitcoin and MicroStrategy and retirement plans and how to generate perpetual income, Enphase, Tesla, robotics, competition, strategy, old season, and so much more. Let's get into it. And we're going to move fast because there's like 60 slides to cover. So I'm going to go at the speed of light, and thank you for all coming. And this is just a guy on the internet, not financial advice. And all the questions come from Patreon. And a big thank you to Sean D, TND Tesla, K8, and everybody in the chat as well. First question is from the Lorax. Can we please have a brief step through the TA on our current Bitcoin pricing? Let's do that. I might turn my, well, I'm not in the way here, but I'm just going to go through some things kind of I look at to determine where we are on the Bitcoin cycle. This is Bitcoin on the ATR model. We are down from all-time high. It was a pretty exciting week. We shot it up to 112,000. Now we're exactly at 107,607. A little bit off the all-time high, approximately, well, let me see, $4,400. But it's nothing in Bitcoin terms. But when you look at this, the new layers, we broke out on the ATR, so we've got a new all-time high, which is good. The trend is still up. There's a buy signal on the ATR model. So things are looking okay. The question people have now, a lot of people thought the bear market had begun when Bitcoin hit 75,000 a few weeks ago. And here we are. Things happen fast. Risk happens fast too. Let's look at where we are. We are above the 200-day moving average, which is also good news. We typically spend a lot of time there in the bull market for Bitcoin. If we breach that and hang down there for an extended period of time, we're talking 4 weeks, that's a bad sign. And Bitcoin with the optimized trend, you can see very clearly here, blue up and to the right. This determines if the bull market is intact, and yes, it is. Good news. Also, you have to focus on the girth of the line, which is very important as well. But typically, the orange is the down cycle, which corresponds with the bear market. And you can also have mini bear markets. But if you look to the last cycle before the red shadow, which is the last bear market, which the ATR pulls in, you see the orange downtrend there. That was a manipulated cycle. That was not because of fundamentals. So this time it's a little bit different. We'll talk more about some other good news for this cycle too, why it is very different. And the Bitcoin top and bottom indicator model just flipped orange. Next, we go dark orange, and then we go red. When we go red, it's time to hedge or get out, or maybe take some profits along the way. And it looks like we're still, we spent quite some time in the yellow zone recently, even though the price is a lot higher than it was last time we were in the yellow zone. The first time we hit the yellow zone for this bull cycle, the price of Bitcoin is about $67,000 before it went into orange. And we went into orange all the way to 108,000. Then we fell back down again and cooled off. But right now we're heating up once more. So that is the TA for Bitcoin. Hope you like it. Next from Gemins, has the MicroStrategy trade changed? With Saylor keeping ATMing like a maniac since November, is he now just suppressing the share price? Will it continue to be suppressed until the bear market? Wouldn't it be better to wait until the bear market to take MicroStrategy trade again, as there won't be much more upside unless he stops ATMing? And this is it's such a weird situation. He's been ATMing since 2020, and all of a sudden, people know what ATMing means, and they're like, what are we going to do? We're all going to die. It's like, it's what he does. He sells his shares at a premium to buy Bitcoin. And in fact, if it wasn't for him buying Bitcoin, I would say the Bitcoin price would probably be $60,000 to $70,000. He has bought the next 3 years of supply over the last 6 months. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. It's big. But let's look at a couple of things on how I view MicroStrategy. And I've been in this thing since September 2020. And I understand this stock pretty well, I'd say. First of all, I covered this last week. The rate of Bitcoin purchasing is accelerating. This is good for proxies. Okay, it's good for Bitcoin price, which is good for proxies. Some proxies aren't doing well, like Marathon is trading at a discount to its Bitcoin bag. Unbelievable. Also, let's look at assets. I always say ride the winning horses. It is no coincidence. These are the top performing assets compared to MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy smoked them all. And I still own NVIDIA, Bitcoin, and Tesla. The top 4 assets. It is no coincidence. Okay. So, and then this is since they started their strategy up nearly 3,000%. People are still complaining. Yes, it's always good to rotate and take profits if you want. That's completely fine. But at the same time, this is a special asset with a special model. First of all, you always have to look at the NAV premium. Right now, it's 1.70, 1.68, depending on exactly how you measure it. And it's at the lower end of the range. It can fall sometimes to 1.5. And then it goes up again. It all depends on the volatility and the demand for the stock. Right now, it takes a breather after a big rampage. And also, sometimes, some people say MicroStrategy, when it starts to run, it's a precursor to a big Bitcoin move. But we'll see. Anyway, in addition, it's very important to look at the pair. This is MicroStrategy versus Bitcoin. The trend is up since January 2024, up and to the right. What this tells you is you're better off holding MicroStrategy over Bitcoin because over time it outperforms. Why does it do that? Because of share accretion. Every time he sells, if he sells MicroStrategy share at a NAV premium 1.7 or 1.9 or 2.08 or whatever else, he takes that money he gets for selling his stock at a premium, buys Bitcoin, and therefore you as a shareholder get more Satoshis per share. Watch the red line. It's up and to the right. And they've gotten really good at the share accretion as well. There was some dips there in the past where it was off, but now they are really, really good. So when the stock is at a premium, he sells. They should come as no surprise to anybody. And also, as I said earlier, Saylor and MicroStrategy are probably wholly responsible for the price of Bitcoin being so high right now because they're buying so much. Now, this is also a very interesting point. Shout out to Mark Harvey, the powerful Harv, the setup going green, green, green. What does this mean? Green, green, green. Well, let's dive into this for a second. What he means is when green, 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 green is here. That means when the gold ETF launched, it was basically up for 7 or 8 straight years. And Mark Harvey, and I believe, and I've said this since last year, there is a very strong, consistent demand for Bitcoin and from treasuries for these Bitcoin reserves. Also, nation states, sovereigns, US states are all coming. And this constant demand as well coming from ETF buyers. And we have the Fed that is going to cut rates this year. And that means a lot of money will look for risk on assets because they'll no longer be able to get that juicy 4% return per year. So anyway, the point is we could keep going up for 7 years. If Mark Harvey is right, I give this a 20% chance, as I said since last year, because if there's a perpetual bid for Bitcoin, it keeps going up. And if this perpetual bid for Bitcoin, sometimes people only have MicroStrategy as an on-ramp. Therefore, demand for MicroStrategy will go up too. And could it be like a gold ETF? Yes. In fact, $5 billion worth of gold ETFs are sold so far this year. And guess where that money's going? I guarantee you a chunk of it is here. And because that's a key trade. I mean, holding gold is just illogical when you look at historic performance compared to Bitcoin. Anyhow, I hope that helps. So the question is, yeah, the NAV premium is volatile. Yeah, Bitcoin hit a new all-time high. MicroStrategy didn't because the premium was not there like in the past. So watch the NAV premium. And I'm still holding. Let's get into Get About. Hi, James. Thanks for all your help. It's been priceless. Woohoo. I'm 64, retired. I'm not quite 64, but I am retired too, like you. I would like to build a constant income stream, either monthly or quarterly, that is resistant to money debasement, given all fiat is going to zero. What would you suggest are the different ways to achieve this? So this is all, it gets so many questions like this that we have to tackle them. And sometimes I tackle them every couple of weeks because people are concerned about treasuries and fiat. what is the, I wrote a post on Patreon this morning regarding treasuries being kryptonite for your portfolio. Yes, they are. And somebody said it's like asbestos wrapped in a coupon. That's what treasuries are. But there are a couple of things that you could do to generate perpetual income. For me, it was rental properties back in the day, but they are getting a little bit harder these days because they're so expensive. But let's talk about one thing. This is a new theory, and I talk about this based on the retire on model. Now, I know you want to retire now, but if you can get 900 shares of Tesla, remember that wasn't a lot of money. It was like 90K a year and a half ago or so when Tesla fell to 106, or 2 years ago, whatever it was. But if I'm just throwing a number out there, punching into the model, assuming you need, say, 60,000 living expenses, 50,000 going up to 90,000 a month through 2040. If you had 900 shares, this is one of the concepts, is where you have a bag of Tesla and you hold it. But for living expenses as they arise, you sell one share or a couple of shares every quarter, or whatever it takes to get to your position that you need to do. And I ran the numbers in the model for this for you. 900 shares would give you that 50K of living expenses a year. I didn't take into account taxes because I don't know your tax situation, but that will cover you for the next 15 years through 2040. That's one way. Another way that you could consider, and it's always good to have multiple methods to generate perpetual income, because MicroStrategy is another one. We've spoken about it. Now, I don't own any STRF or STRK, but I know the world is talking about them. But MicroStrategy, I do believe, is inventing the new bond market. I made a detailed video of this last year. I saw what they were doing, but now they've gone full hog. What they are doing is they've created a new bond market with very low risk compared to Bitcoin investment, downside protection, lots of upside, and institutional appeal and very strong demand. So let's look at two. First of all, this is the STRK. A lot of people like me sometimes refer to it as STARK, like Stark Industries. And this was inspired by Adam Livingston. Shout out to Adam. But here he looks at some Bitcoin price targets and, 150K, 300K, 500K, 1 million going out 3 years. All right. And that would have a corresponding MicroStrategy price, $750 up to $5,000. And then the conversion for this STRK, conversion of 0.1 times the MicroStrategy share price. So if Bitcoin does go to 150K, MicroStrategy goes to 750, you get your 8.1% IRR. Okay. If it goes to 300K, you get 31.6%, 500K, 53.5%, and $1 million, 90.4%. Again, no downside risk, but you get all the upside in a nice little package, which is good. So if you want to consider safety, have a look at this. Again, watch your taxes as well. And the other one is STRF from Peter Dwan. Once the bond market finds out that STRF has 11.6% near risk-free yield, they're going to go nuts. So 10% yield, effective yield 11.6%, because this thing is trading about $80 when it should be trading at $100. So watch this carefully. A little mix of some of these could be nice in a portfolio to generate that perpetual income. And also, if you are tax-free, check out MSTY too. Again, I don't have any STRF, STRK, or MSTY because I do my own option game myself. I don't need these things. So hope that helps. Next question is from Crypto Pleb. Hi, James. How do you think altcoin season is shaping up, and when will its next run happen? Will it depend on how Bitcoin dominance behaves? Thank you. Let's look at this one real quick. First of all, Bitcoin dominance is dominating. That's the yellow stuff here. Very big, very large. And pink is altcoins. Okay. So if you look at this chart, you'll notice something has shrunken away from 25% down to 9%. That's the blue beast. That's Ethereum dominance. Ethereum has taken a big poop over the last 3 years, and that's the result. But the overall value of the altcoins has gone up considerably, but so too has the number of these altcoins. Very important to notice that. But Bitcoin is very strong. The other thing to consider too is if you look at this is the top 50 altcoins. There's so much crap and garbage in here. It's not even funny. Really crap, dead zombie coins. Look at all the orange stuff to the right. Crap meme coins, scam coins, zombie chains. It's all garbage. So it's, when you compare like an index or something and a pristine asset like Bitcoin to the garbage that's listed here in the top 50, it doesn't really matter, okay? Don't think about old season in the old ways because it's different. Now, this is why I believe, there will be no traditional old season this time around because first of all, retail is gone from Bitcoin. This is all driven by treasuries and large institutions, etc. It's not retail anymore. Retail's playing with their meme coins and stuff. The original retailers still hold it, but they're not going to flip their position into alts like used to happen in the old days because the market cap is a lot higher. The crypto market cap is over $3 trillion. Retail can't move that type of market cap. Okay. Also, Bitcoin has a very unique value proposition. That's why it's been made treasuries all over as well. And always remember, there's always an alt season happening. You just got to be very selective finding the winners. And also, most altcoins are scams and zombies. So focus on those two coins that have treasuries. And we'll get to why the price of Solana is so low as well in a minute. But that is important to consider. So there's all these questions are kind of dovetailing together. So watch that. But there's only two coins that have treasuries. One is Bitcoin, the other one's Solana. So watch this space. Next question from Chris Koss. In Canada, we've had Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs since 2021, and I've used them in tax advantage accounts similar to 401k. Now that SOL ETFs are available, is it a good time to consider switching ETH for SOL ETFs? I already hold very little ETH in favor of SOL, but my ETH ETF allocations make me more heavily weighted in ETH overall. So let's just do what I always do. And over time, you don't know what the markets are going to do. They're irrational, but since the bottom of the bear, SOL ETH has been 800% better, which means Solana has outperformed Ethereum by 800%. Okay, it's a very clear story. But there's fluctuations along the way. ETH had a pump 1 or 2 weeks ago, made everybody very happy, but those very short-lived as well. Then, if you just look at the data, Solana destroys Ethereum by huge margins all across the board. It's a complete bloodbath. Just some of the numbers here. I'll try to pick them out. Solana is 900% more decentralized. Okay. ETH basically runs through two nodes, AWS and one other one. Solana has 3,000% faster block time, 15,000% better finality, 1.6 million percent faster, 8,000% more transactions, 1,300% more users, 500,000% cheaper, and makes 80% more money. Yet, it trades at a fraction of the market cap of Ethereum. Again, the market is not logical, but that's okay. Eventually, it will be. So that's kind of where we are. When you look at this data, cream will float to the top eventually. But sometimes you've got old chains, old technology just get held up. Once we get the SOL ETF and more treasuries, this could all change pretty rapidly. We'll get to why the price has been suppressed now in a second too. Again, this next question dovetails into this question and the previous one too. Dutch Windhorse, dear James and team, SOL is doing all the work, but isn't valued like that at all. Yep, I know. I know this isn't all season, but still, XRP and Cardano has been better in terms of valuation recently. With all the price manipulation, is it fair to say the price of SOL is being more suppressed than others? And if so, what for? Who's benefiting from it? Thank you, to Dutch Windhorse in Amsterdam. First of all, SOLXRP. It's pretty clear. Yes, XRP has had a good run, but Sol still beats it over time. Sol Cardano, this is a shocker. Of course, Solana destroyed it, but then Cardano went on a run, and at the same time, Solana went back from all-time highs and is down 42, 46% from all-time highs right now, I think. And it's crazy. But again, let's look at some more data. Solana has nearly 300 times the number of daily active users. Cardano has 20,000 users. Solana has 5.4 million. And somehow Cardano stopped reporting their daily active users on Artemis. We still have a feed for it, but it is shocking. And apparently, I don't know how much of this is true, but there's lots of like breadcrumbs around the internet that Charles Hoskinson, who was accused of taking a big bag of Cardano somehow, somewhere last week. But anyway, he's expressed interest in deeper AI integration and AI-powered smart contracts and LLMs on Cardano's Layer 2 solutions. Okay? There's something Laos Research Agenda. They're going to build a test net running the protocol and populate it with thousands of AI agents to trade amongst each other. And a lot of people, a lot of Cardano dApps could sign up for this. Yeah, so they're talking about thousands of agents when they don't even have thousands of users. It seems very bizarre. Maybe it's a pivot. Maybe it's a way of coping. But again, this chain is probably, as I said, since 2021, probably not going to go anywhere. So no offense to the Cardano holders, but just it's time to wake up. Now back to the story. Suppression, yes, it continues. Wintermute and Binance continue to put the lid on this stuff. Shout out to Marty Party. He'll be on tomorrow morning on DCA. They just sent, in the last 24 hours, 333,000 Solana to Wintermute to keep the price low, take advantage of the volatility, and keep a lid on action. Why they're doing this, I don't know. I thought last week 178 was a good time to take some profits, not sell, of course, but in a different way, based on the chart. And it looks like the Wintermute folks want to keep the lid on price. We did hit 186 last week, and it came right back down to earth. It's 173 right now as I speak. I don't know. Suppression continues. Maybe they know an ETF is coming. They want to build a bag and sell it to the institutions when they need it to get their ETF started. I'm not sure. But either way, it's good because it's going to go back to all-time highs, which is, double from where it is right now. And we just need to be patient. Again, it does everything. And the amount of development is crazy. And also, this is one thing where you have to look at seasonality because Solana does really well going into September, October, November timeframe too. So we just need to get through the summer and wait and see what happens. But the data is still rocking and they're dominating. In fact, Solana DPIN, I saw a stat earlier today, has more, just DPIN alone on Helium, has more daily active users than most other chains combined. Just one use case. Madness. Anyway, let's keep on going. Crypto Curious for pair trading between MicroStrategy and Tesla. What is the new range? Do you think we'll see MicroStrategy Tesla at 0.8 again? Holding Tesla and waiting to rotate back to MicroStrategy had swapped too soon at 1.10 and missed the recent epic pump by MicroStrategy. Now, this one has been a beast. And if you know Patreon, you watch all my pair trades on this one. And I watch this chart like a hawk all the time. And we shot down. The last swap was at 1.48 for me, I think, from MicroStrategy to Tesla. And now we're down at 1.09. And that all happened in less than 2 weeks, just straight down, because Tesla was strong, MicroStrategy was weak. And all happened. Why people are frustrated, this all happened at the same time when Bitcoin was very strong, making a new all-time high. Because the NAV premium isn't what it should be, like we covered at the very beginning of this story. So where it goes from here, it really is a function of what Tesla does. Tesla is on the cusp of launching autonomy, which will have a huge impact on US GDP over the next 2 years. And Elon Musk has gone into founder mode. He's discovered Doge is not going to fix the US. It'll save in $500 billion here, $500 billion there, but it's not going to solve the death spiral that we are in. He needs to do something more, and that is to increase GDP in the United States by autonomy and robots. And now he's going to be back to sleeping on factory floors. So watch this space. It's going to be crazy. So Tesla could outperform MicroStrategy, but we need Bitcoin to go ballistic to drive back up. So we shall see. Now you asked back to 0.8. We would need Bitcoin and MicroStrategy to tank a lot for that to happen. So over time, it could, or we need Tesla to moon. And one thing that is, of course, dangerous is to be caught offside in a pair trade. So the way you solve that is don't swap everything, keep some. Okay, so I hope that helps. Next question, Moonramp. First time you've posted. Dear James, thank you for being such a person. Thank you so much. A friend of mine keeps arguing that Tesla has no chance against its Chinese competitors. Can you please categorize the industries, cars, robots, and find out where Tesla or China could be the winner now and in a few years? Thank you so much. So I've spent probably the last 9 years listening to, oh, the competition is coming. Competition is coming. Yeah, China is going to win. BYD better than Tesla, all that stuff. I'm just going to spend a few minutes talking about where we are with the robot, okay? And people continue to not understand what Elon Musk is or does or what the company is capable of. Now, I'm working on a very extensive robotic AI automation deck, which will be a very heavy lift. I'm just going to give you a sneak preview of some of the thoughts. First of all, this is, and if you want to read this, you can pause and read. I'll turn off my camera so you can see, or I can move myself to the top left. But here, the smart movement design that Optimus has is built to do human tasks, walking, lifting, dexterity enhanced, do all sorts of things. And not just look human or play sports or tennis or ball or anything else. It's really to work in manufacturing environments. That's what they're focused on. You've got tons of robots all around the world that can kick a ball or do a half marathon or something. That doesn't matter. Okay, Tesla focus on the G's, the goal, the value add, the durability, the production at scale. That's all their entire focus. So they have the superior actuation. Also, they have this. They have reinforcement learning mastery, like think sim to real. It learns very fast with the AI. It can now learn new actions in a virtual world and do them in real life by watching videos. I just shared something, I think it was yesterday, of all the different tasks that this robot's doing. And all of a sudden, they kept it very quiet and secret for a long time. But now they show where they are. And remember, Tesla has Colossus. They have the biggest AI compute supercomputer on the planet, and they're about to make it 10x larger with a new one. Okay? This is how far ahead they are. Okay? The other players don't have this. Next, they've got a full body and agility control. It can walk on a mulch that's slipping out and land on a hill. It moves smooth and precisely. A lot of people are blown away by the ankle movements lately. And Optimus controls the whole body, turns, bounces, and flows like a pro. This is where the investment has been made too. And in addition, there's a lot more. The actuator design and simulation pipeline. Again, they've built everything from the ground up because these parts didn't exist anywhere on the planet. They design their own parts, their own simulations, and they help it train and work more reliably than other players. And they focus on design priorities, built for real work, to work in factories instead of fancy tricks. They focus on standing strong, moving efficiently, being very durable, doing useful jobs. That's all the focus. And they have this exponential learning stability. Easily is capable of learning new skills. Once trained, it can pick up a lot of new behaviors quickly, making it more flexible than all of its rivals. Again, think of the compute. They've got all the compute. Think of one robot learning one skill. Maybe it's making sushi or ironing clothes as good as Tesla Boomer Mama, as she said the other day. We don't know what it's going to be. But once one robot learns how to do it, it propagates across all the others. The skill is shared, and that is bonkers. Now, the human hand, probably the most important thing. And sorry for spending a couple minutes on this because it's critical. A massive multi-year-long focus has gone into the hand for this thing. It's designed to be human-like, advanced sensors, fingerprint sensors. They can carry an egg without breaking it, squeezing it too much. They have gears in the fingers that focus on tightening and using power for that and automatically loosening. Okay. Tendon-driven structure, 22 degrees of freedom, 2.3 kilowatt battery, which is completely optimized for scale and efficiency. And it can do everything, mirroring all human hand capabilities. That's what other players don't do. In fact, many other robots don't even have hands. They got like a gripper, two little finger thing. Anyway, back to Tesla. They make the best-selling car on Earth, and it's an electric vehicle. Unheard of. And you still hear the competition is coming. And speaking of the competition, this is BYD from AK, Andrew K. BYD is junk around a battery that fails. Okay, look at the bottom undercarriage of this car. It's 3 or 4 years old. It's completely rusted out. You can get under my 6.5-year-old Model X. It looks like the first day I bought it. It is perfection. Zero rust, zero corrosion. Still looks brand new. And again, we still hear China and the competition are coming. Yeah, we've heard that for a long time, but it's not the case. So don't worry. It'll be a function of the hand, the mobility, the dexterity, and the AI and the brain. It's all about the brain. That's the advantage that Tesla has over others. Okay. Next question, simply complex. A stablecoin demand for US Treasuries, ? David Sachs is on the record saying, if passed, the US stablecoin bill will result in trillions of dollars of demand for US Treasuries. How does this make sense? Stables are bought with fiat. You're still buying toilet paper regardless of what you transacted with fiat or stablecoins. Have I missed something? Thank you for your tireless work. You've changed countless lives for the better. Yeah, this is a tricky one, but you've got to understand money makes the world go round, and stablecoins offer a better way to grease the machine. And I always say that the dollar is the cleanest shirt in the laundry. All fiat is bad. Just a question of how bad. Some are a lot worse than the others. So these are my reasons for trillions in demand, and really to support David Sachs and his point. One, the massive market potential. We already have nearly a $250 billion of stablecoin in circulation, and as the market cap goes up for crypto, that'll grow too. Soon it'll be half a trillion, and then 1 trillion. So when he says trillions in demand, it's already getting there pretty fast. Also, we have mandated treasury requirements too. The Genius Act requires stablecoins to be fully backed by high quality assets like treasuries, which is so important as well for the US. It's all related. If they can make the stablecoin get adopted, that drives the demand for US treasuries. Like Tether is one of the biggest buyers of treasuries today. And that creates inflows into structural demand for government debt. The US government has a problem right now. They can't sell their debt, but this could drive a lot of new demand too. And unlike traditional fiat use, stablecoin issuance locks reserves into treasuries, creating additional, not substitute demand for these treasuries. And dominance abroad is going to be critical. Support global adoption of USD-backed digital assets. You know, if wherever you are in the world, if you offer somebody, say, currency X or a dollar to anybody anywhere else in the world, odds are they'll choose the dollar. Again, it's the cleanest shirt in the laundry. And that's why I believe in David Sachs, and I believe it could result in trillions in demand. And if anybody has additional points, these are just my 5. Drop them below in a comment. Next, Papa Crypto. With an earnings miss and an almost 20% pre-market drop for Enphase, would this be the moment to run into the burning building or shun it and let it burn? With future AI needing so much energy and solar being so readily available, shouldn't this stock trade higher based on future perspectives? Thank you. And also never finished. I see questions rise about Enphase, etc. And I tend to focus on the real high alpha assets. So I don't talk too much about things that I think have struggles or problems. But first of all, slowing growth is the kiss of death. This is Enphase. Their growth trajectory. Blue is revenue. You can see they peaked in 2022, down in 2023, and down more in 2024. That could probably continue in 2025. Also, earnings growth. They are profitable. They had an earnings miss, but they still make a little bit of money. But the problem is earnings growth is down too. These are not good things. The market doesn't like it. Also, I dug into the financials. They have egregious stock-based compensation. I mean, what executives line their pockets with such high stock-based compensation when they're not growing? They're not performing. What's going on? And I hate this. Whenever I see a company with high stock-based compensation, it's always a big turnoff for me. So I don't like that. Let's look at the ATR chart for this asset. We are in the zombie zone. It's at level 0.5, which is good. The trend is down only since 2022. Not good. Not good at all. Got through the bear market. It actually went up in the bear market for stocks. It went up in the bear. So it's a contra type cycle. And I hear you regarding solar and energy and AI. It needs so much energy. That's true. But there's a couple of things that I think are the problem. One is weak earnings and missed guidance. Market hates that. They're like, oh, don't like. Also declining demand, especially in Europe, where they've got a key market that hurts everyone. And Tesla, their Powerwall 3 has an inverter, which competes directly with Enphase's products. And analysts lower price targets. Clean energy faces as tailwinds because of the current administration. There won't be as much tax credits, etc. So there's a lot of uncertainty regarding these, and the market just does not like it. So I wouldn't touch it. Sometimes things are cheap for a reason. And like if you look at things like Square and PayPal, way off their highs, but continue to languish. And that's why I always say as well, always balance risk and reward. Okay. It's not hard to be in the winning assets. Okay. I spend all my time making sure I am positioned. And some assets could run faster than others, but I'm going to share the slide one more time. All right. This is where the money has been and where it's going. Okay. Tesla, Bitcoin, NVIDIA, MicroStrategy. That's it. Solana. Those 5 things. They are the best risk rewards I can find right now. And they don't all run at the same time, but just consider that as well when you make investments. Don't try to chase things that are cheap. They're cheap for a reason. And shout out to our new friends. And thank you all for helping us support them. This is our Zia and Felix. They're 2 mountain lions and their siblings, and they were orphaned in Santa Monica Mountains, not far from here. And California Fish and Game determined their mother was a casualty of people using rodenticide, which is designed to kill rats. I think if the rats are poisoned, these animals eat them, they get sick too. It also affects owls and others. So be careful with the rodenticide and find other ways to get rid of rodents if you have them. And tomorrow morning, DCA Live. Look forward to seeing the gang here as well. Thank you, Sean Dinley and TND, Tesla, and K8 and everybody else. Let's get into some questions. And don't forget to subscribe and amplify your intelligence. That was how the cycles are different this time around. Now, let me pull up some questions. We'll do some live questions. And thank you, everybody, once again. This is Doc Intern. Do you think CEP is a good long-term HODL asset? So CEP is the 21, the new company with Jack Mallers, Howard Lutnick, Cantor, Fitzgerald, etc., working with Tether. It's a formidable play. I exited and got back on the horse again because I found a cool option way to do it. I'm still holding, but there is supposed to be a transfer of CEP into kind of a new organization sometime in December. I'm not too sure what the terms are of that. I am not too sure of the exact holdings of CEP and how they plan to grow. But once we get more data, we'll be able to make a better assessment. But for now, I'm holding. And I will continue holding through this bull run, but I do not plan on holding if we turn into a bear market. That's when you make the big pivot. There's certain things you don't want to hold in a bear market, and that could be one of them, like some proxies too. Justice for all. Thoughts on MetaPlanet at current price? So if you've seen my posts, I have the HODL model, which tracks all NAV premiums. I think NAV premium MetaPlanet went like 12 to 14 last week. And I was like, I made a post. This is absolutely bonkers, because people are saying, well, people were just chasing stuff. And again, this is the weird FOMO thing that people have. They watch things run and they watch them go bonkers because the Japan market is imploding. And then they try and chase. It's like, no, always look at the ratios and the models and the numbers and then wait. But no, I wouldn't buy it. Still, NAV premium is way too high compared to other assets out there. So skip for me. Super Trooper 108, can you comment on Elon Musk's tweet about the power shortage in the US facing in 2026? With current government regulations, we can't get more power online in time, according to the All-In Pod. Won't AI severely suffer because of this? So this is, I've heard power risk stuff for years and years and years and years. And, oh, the Bitcoin miners are going to cause blackouts across the US and all that. It's like human nature. We have a lot of power, but a lot of power is wasted. California has brownouts all the time, for example. And they ship a lot of power to other states because they can't store it. They can't grid it. So Elon has the ability to store energy. They have 168 megapacks deploying right now for Colossus 2. That's enough to power a city. So there are ways, humans have ways of catering to excess demand and solving problems. I think they'll find a way. And the US government understands the competitive nature of AI. I joked the other day in a post, it's like you don't hear about Bitcoin mining boiling the oceans anymore because AI is so strategically critical. People have to create more electricity somehow, more energy, or else we'll lose the AI war to China. And that has become a strategic issue. And I believe humans will figure it out. Especially with the brains we have right now. And thank you for your super sticker, Dog1, AC1, QC Coiner, French Dreamer. Boom. Thank you for everything. By the way, a quick wrap-up point on the energy thing. Yes, we don't have enough energy. Yes, the grid sucks. Yes, we need to invest a lot. Yes, we need nuclear. Yes, we need more solar. Yes, we need more battery storage. And guess who's prepared for all that? Tesla. So they'll have 3 mega factories up and running by the end of this year. And they have a long list of customers all over the planet to sell these things. It's going to be fantastic. So there is a way of solving the energy problem. Always. But humans need to get creative. So thank you so much. Have a good night, everybody. See you all tomorrow. Thank you, TNT Tesla, everybody else. And thank you for the support and likes. Happy Memorial Day weekend as well to everybody. Enjoy the barbecuing and whatever you do. I think tomorrow's a holiday, but I'll be here first thing in the morning. Thank you. Amazing to see everybody. Bye.